to The Boom Show, building open-minded, optimistic, and motivated teens. My name is Rahz Slaughter, aka The Motivator, and I interview authors, educators, thought leaders, and inspiring people who've overcome amazing opportunities to create success in their lives. We got a great interview for you today, but before I get into that, if this is your first time here, do me a huge personal favor. Hit that subscribe button, make sure to like, share, and comment to this video, and more importantly, come back for the next episode. Today, I'll be interviewing Evan Montes de Oca. He is a personal trainer, a good friend of mine, someone I've known for a lot of years. He was a former trainer at my gym in New York. I am so excited to have him. This man has gone through some ups, some downs, some overs, but more importantly, he keeps persevering, stepping up. And I believe that if you have a kid that is going to college and needs some inspiration, a little bit of motivation, how to overcome some obstacles, Evan is your man. Stay tuned to an amazing interview. I can't wait. Let's get to the show. Boom. I'll see you on the other side. What's up, everybody? This is Rahz Slaughter, aka The Motivator, and we're back with The Boom Show, building open-minded, optimistic, and motivated teens. Today, I have my good friend, Evan Montes de Oca, and he is here. Before I even get into the interview, Evan and I have known each other for a long time. He's a good friend of mine. He's got an amazing and inspiring story. I can't wait for this interview. Evan, how are you doing, brother?
Feeling good, feeling great. Glad I'm talking to you via Zoom. You know, I haven't seen you in a long time, but this is okay. This is good. You know, I feel like I'm almost there with you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, man, you have been doing a lot. You've been on an amazing journey. I met you as one of our amazing team members in New York as a personal trainer. But I want you just to give us a little background on, you know, where are you from? Where do you live? How old you are? Just so the viewers can really get a taste of who you are.
All right. Well, yeah, I grew up here in New York, Long Island specifically, Long Island, Queens. Wow, it just seems like I know I'm 31, but I feel sometimes and I've said this for a long time. I feel like I'm like a teenager most of the time. I just not just physically, but just mentally, emotionally, I guess. I'm just very, very open to things. So I'm not completely set in my ways. So I would say that I take every day as a learning experience. And I would say that everything I hear, everything I see, it's just, you know, I treat it as if it's a learning experience. You know, that's how I kind of go through my days. It's not something that I wake up and say to myself, well, I'm going to learn this today. I'm going to, you know, it's just more like, all right, you know, if I had to sum it up and describe it, that I would say, yeah, you know, I every day is just, it's school for me, you know, even when it's not, you know, specifically school, you know, I'm just, I like talking to people. I like hearing different perspectives. And you already know, you get a lot of that when you're training alongside people. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So Evan, we met, you know, in the trenches, helping transform people's lives. But I want to, before we get to that point, I want you to answer this question, because someone might be watching this, and we have parents, we have thought leaders, authors all the time that are watching this. They have children. You know, it's all about motivation, inspiration. If you could go back to when you were 13 years old, what would you tell yourself about life that you've learned over the last 20 plus years now that you're in your 30s?
You know, I can almost think of that. I can almost pinpoint my mindset at 13 years old. And at different points, because like you and I were discussing earlier, there were definitely times at that age, and that's the age where you're totally, you know, everything is a big deal. And there were definitely a couple of setbacks in my life, at that time that would sort of influence my behavior and my reaction to, you know, different situations for the next couple of years, right up until college, I would say, maybe a little even more beyond that. If I can go back in time, I think specifically to a point where I was actually trying out for basketball. And it was, I think it was just plain intramurals. I wasn't even in high school yet. It was intramural basketball, and I wanted to play point guard. I wanted to, you know, be the starting point guard. And I actually hurt myself. I had slipped. I remember I hurt my back and it was like the day before like tryouts. I could barely move, but I kind of gutted it out, but I did terrible. I could barely move. I was kind of quiet at that time, and I had just met my coach that day, and I was kind of that. I was definitely that timid sort of kid, teenager, preteen, whatever you want to call it. I definitely wasn't very forward. I wasn't very assertive at that time. I didn't know how to put words together. I wasn't eloquent enough to get, the simplest messages by. But one thing, when I remember thinking that I was devastated. I didn't show out. I think that definitely affected my physical performance going forward after that. I would always think of that moment. I just felt like, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. I had all these negative thoughts in my head that I definitely couldn't control, and that's something that went on for a time. As I aged. Whether it be in high school and, like I said, through college, I always had these negative mindset. But if I was to go back in time and speak to myself, I would definitely say, listen, it's this is normal, but you don't want to stop, and you want to continue challenging yourself, because if you get comfortable, if you get complacent with the state of things, you're not going to grow. And I know I would have responded, what do you mean grow? What do you mean get told? But definitely I would have said, listen, this is going to stop you. There are going to be habits that you're going to need, positive habits that you're going to need. And I would say positive habits that you're going to need in order to be successful at whatever you set out to do.
That's a great point. And it's going to lead right into, I think a lot of teens, a lot of parents struggle with, seeing their kids have a stumbling block and want to pick them up too quickly and not allow them to extract the lessons that they can learn from that you had to overcome by getting injured right before you had that tryout, knowing that you didn't get to perform at the level you wanted, but figuring out a way that you can bounce back, which was you've done throughout your life, which has been great. I love that you hit a lot of cool things. You talked about success. You talked about, goals. We're going to dive into that. But let me ask you, what is your definition? And I want the cleanest, clearest definition you could possibly of what is success.
Success, I know, is definitely something that I would say everyone has. It just seems like when you say success, I think everybody initially has a thought or a feeling that they go to automatically in their minds. They go, success, of course, that's when I'm happy. That's when I have everything. I have money, I have jewels, I have cars. But I would say success for me, the cleanest definition I can come up with would be, I would say, the state of being in which you have accomplished a simple goal, regardless of the goal. It's just knowing that, I set out to, like I said, run around the block 10 times without stopping. I did that. That's success. And there's different amounts of success. There's different, I don't know what the word would be, but there's definitely different, grades of success, I would say, that would define, that state of emotion, that state of elation you feel after you've accomplished that goal.
Awesome. And I love it because, like, in my book, we talk about success. And the key to that whole chapter is about understanding that success and defining it is different for everyone, but it changes throughout your life. You at 13, success was, I want to be a starting point guard. But Evan, today, definitely success means something different. I know for myself personally, for many years, success meant having a nice car, having a house, a watch. But now success just means impact, legacy to me, because now I've gone through and I've accomplished a lot of those goals. Now there's the next thing that's going to thrive push me forward. So I love that. What motivates Evan?
Well, I figure I'm alive. I like being alive. I love people for sure. And I figure, what can I do best with my time, in the world, on earth, whatever you want to call it, this dimension, whatever.
Mhm.
I would say, I figure I have the time. I want to do things that most people would not do, or, I want to help people, or I want to do something that takes time. I want to be able to say, I feel proud of myself. So my motivation is to say, I'm proud that I did this. That's the key to my happiness. Not that I feel like, I think I've got caught. At some point I got caught up in having this I would say this cycle of having to, out accomplish myself. So, if I did something, I have to do this now, and I have to do this, and that's not really addressing your happiness. But I would say that, yeah, I'm just motivated because, and the route that we're, like, I would say the world you and I are in terms of, whether it be training people or rehabilitating people physically, mentally, whatever you want to call it. That's definitely a major, I would say, is a major catalyst for me. That's definitely something I want to build upon. I want to improve at that. I want to improve at helping people, young and old, sort of, get by. And you already know that with all the clients that you've had and I've had or shared, a lot of times it's not the physical barriers, it's the mental and emotional barriers that hold you back. And I feel like with my unique experience, and you a great deal about me at this point. I always feel like I could shed some light, on people's own personal experiences. And I'm very open, me. I mean, at this point in my life, I feel like you should be, or I feel like I should be, very open. I'm not afraid to, not that I'm gonna tell my life story to, a stranger, but I feel like there's things that I want to sort of express so people feel comfortable, and that's sort of my personal mantra. I want people to feel comfortable around me. And if that means that I need to, share something about myself that may be maybe embarrassing or, maybe more private, nothing inappropriate, but, that's fine. So be it, because it could help somebody.
Absolutely. And it's been a great opportunity for me to watch your growth throughout your career. You joined us as a very young personal trainer, and I got to see you take this journey that where you were transforming lives and making a huge impact. And a lot of people don't know what it means to be a personal trainer. In their minds, they think it's you're counting reps, holding a clipboard. And you touched upon it. It's really the mental that you really have to master because that's what people bring to you each and every day. And I know because I've had the opportunity to train thousands of clients at this point, and you were a part of that amazing team. Let me ask you, what is one takeaway that you believe that you could take away from your personal training experience and take it to the next level where when you're going to be a physical therapist?
Say definitely, you've been around a great number of people, like me being around a great number of people. I've definitely learned how to sort of, I always say, become sort of like a chameleon, and sort of adapting to my environment or my surroundings, the people I'm surrounded by, and there's stronger personalities, there's weaker personalities, people that are, more, I would say, like I said, more assertive. And then the type of people that I would say are just more, okay, tell me what I need to do and I'll do it,
Mm-hmm.
And there's people that are more vocal, there's people that are just very shy. And you kind of have to break through those shells that they put up. But people are all very similar, in my opinion. We all have the same basic needs. Um, and I think that with the time that I've also worked alongside a physical therapist, it's very similar. We are, at the end of the day, everything is very goal oriented, whether it be improve my physical performance or help me walk on my, total knee replaced knee. I
Mm-hmm.
can't bend it anymore. I need to do this. I need to bend it to 130 degrees or so. It's the same. So I would definitely say it's just sort of navigating through those different types of personalities and then knowing how to respond to, what the feedback they give you, and that's pretty much it. I would definitely take that. And it's really not just in physical therapy. I would take that everywhere.
A word from our sponsor. As a parent, it is emotionally draining to see your child suffering from low self-esteem, lacking confidence, and social skills. Rahz and Michelle Slaughter's book, Student Success Secrets, unlock the 7 secrets for developing inspired, motivated, success-driven teens is a must-read book for every emerging teenager. Purchase a copy today at rahzslaughter.com or amazon.com. I can tell you that my experience as a personal trainer changed my life. It allowed me to do exactly what you said. I had to learn to be a great communicator. And that allowed me to see Mr. or Mrs. Jones or her little boy, Johnny or Debbie, and really be able to find a way to adapt their goals to the outcome that we know as a coach, a trainer, that we can help them achieve. Now, sometimes clients have setbacks and they deal with it differently. I'd love for you to be a little vulnerable during this next question and share a little bit about maybe there was some type of setback in your life that you had to come back from, because I know the viewers here are looking and they're saying, you know what, I have a son or daughter or someone who may be struggling and I need a tool, a strategy that can help get them over the hump or get them back on the horse, as we would say. What in your life, what type of an experience has set you back, but actually created a great comeback for you?
Well, I would say right off the bat, I mean, there's tons, but I would say right off the bat, I can definitely think back to, I think I was 17 and I was a freshman in college. I was, a little bit on the younger side, late birthday. And I say, well, I want to go to the gym, I want to get strong. I didn't know anything at that time. I was a baby, it's amazing. I think back how much of a 180 I've kind of gone through in that time. And I remember going to the gym at night. It's packed. This is on campus. Great gym, by the way. A lot of equipment that I would definitely have. I definitely took for granted at the time. It's just incredible stuff. I couldn't believe I had access to that. I was very blessed in that sense. But I remember.
What school did you go to?
That was Penn State, the Penn State University. Cool. Yeah, very awesome school. I had a tough couple of years there, but my last year was definitely great and memorable. But yeah, I remember, it's like everybody thinks, yeah, I'm going to go there. I got to hit the bench, that typical mindset. I think a lot of teenagers have, a lot of adults have,
Absolutely.
To be honest.
We've been in the gym long enough to know that ego gets in the way.
It's just something about having a big chest that everybody wants. So, I mean, needless to say, at that time, I was very, very influenced by that type of mindset. And, I remember going onto the bench, and I had bench one, if you could bench 2 plates, that's a big deal, at the time. Cause that's everybody, that's sort of like the measure of a man, right? Everybody yeah, exactly. You're like, well, yeah, I could do a plate or 2, whatever. And I'm benching it out. But one thing I was very inexperienced with was I wasn't experienced with fatigue and how to manage it. I just remember, all right, when it starts to burn, that means that, the sort of the meat-headed explanation for that is, well, that's good. The longer you can take the pain, the bigger you're going to get, that was my mindset. That's what I believed.
Yep.
And I remember I was at the point where I was probably on like rep 10 and I could not get that bar up. I was pinned under the bar. And mind you, I didn't say it before, I was by myself and completely alone. And I'm surrounded by so many. So I would say embarrassment was definitely the biggest thing for me at that age. That I swear, like it's not the fact that I have 135 pounds, sort of pinning me down to a bench, my little chest at that time. It's just the fact that I'm in that compromised position and everybody around me knows it, and when you're a teenager, yeah. And I remember somebody had to come and save me and pull the bench. Mm-hmm. I was there for like 3 or 4 minutes. That felt like an hour. Yeah. I didn't step foot into that gym for a year. I was so embarrassed. I was so devastated after that. I completely gave up weights. I said, whatever, I'm just going to run out. I think at the time I also wanted to lose weight. I was a little chubby at the time. I had stopped playing sports and I became sort of like a dedicated runner, but I did not step into that gym. I was so shy. I was so ashamed. My words right now cannot really stress the amount of like this terror and these horrible feelings I had at the time. I guess I'm more sensitive. At the time I was more sensitive than the average kid. I don't know, but if you or anyone else has ever been in a situation where you completely felt mortified, that was my experience of like complete mortification. I felt horrible. I was so embarrassed. I'm not a man. I'm weak. Everybody's gonna laugh at me. Those are my thoughts, because at the time, at that age, you want to be validated. You want people to say, "Oh yeah, that's Evan. Yeah, he could bench. He's a strong guy." Not, "Oh God, there's that guy that they got pinned and it happened twice." I saw the whole thing. That's so embarrassing.
Great story. And just so you know, that happens to everyone at some point. It's just that a lot of people don't have the ability to be vulnerable enough to share. Now, I know someone's watching this and they're saying, if you're a parent and you have a kid who's working out, just know that the key to what Evan's story here is just you have to be willing not to go to the gym alone, especially if you're going to push yourself. Get help. Reach out to someone. There are a lot of people. And just so you know, Evan, I love it that you shared that. But now, I mean, you're in an amazing shape. You've been an amazing trainer for many years. The feats that you've overcome. What's one thing that you would tell yourself at that age? If you could go back, 17-year-old Evan, get back in the gym. What's something quick? What's the motivation that would have got you back in the gym?
First thing I would have told myself was forget them.
Forget them or forget you, because who's creating that thought, that story?
Yeah, it was definitely, it was all in my head, it was definitely, it's definitely, you build up this view of the world, I guess, at that age. And even now, people have like that, you think if you spend enough time in your mind long enough, you're alone, you think about all these possibilities and all these scenarios. But yeah, definitely the first thing I would have said is forget them. And then like you said, just, forget you, forget everything you're thinking about. Not exactly put yourself in a bubble, but just realize, look, don't worry about anyone else thinks, worry about you. And then think about the process, and understand that you're going to get to where you want to be, but you have to endure somewhat, and then have fun. And if you're not having fun, then maybe you should, look into doing something else. But if your goal is really, I want to get stronger, and I always say it's not just how you look. Yeah, everybody wants to look good in a shirt or whatever, but it's more, I want to be able to perform. I want to be stronger. I want to be able to do certain things that people aren't able to do physically. I want to feel strong. I want to wake up in the morning and say, I want to run. I want to lift something. I want to ride my bike. I want to, whatever it is. That should be the number one thought. And at that time, now, in the future, that should be everybody's thought. You should always think to yourself, look, it's a process. I love the process. It's going to take time, but I'm going to enjoy myself throughout, and I'm going to learn something, and then I'm going to be able to look at myself and say, wow, what a transformation. It's a big deal. Even when I remember when I did step back into the gym, I had run so much to the point where my muscle had actually atrophied. I remember my parents told me they thought I was on drugs. Yeah, I had lost so much weight. I was so thin. I remember sitting on those hardwood seats in class and being like, man, I could feel my tailbone like just directly on that wood. It was terrible. I remember feeling extra cold in the winter. I was super skinny. I was about 5'7", same height I am now. And I think I weighed about 120 pounds. The lowest I was at 5'7" was 117. No, I wasn't anorexic. I wasn't bullying. I none of that. I was like, I need to stick to 1,500 calories. I need to lose weight. Like I mentioned, I was a little chubby at the time. I got super skinny, and I was at the point almost where I was like skinny fat. I had no muscle tone. I couldn't do dips anymore. That was terrible. I was devastating for me because I had always taken pride. I could do a couple of dips. I go back in the gym. What is it? I was benching 135 for 10 reps at 17. At 18, I couldn't bench 125 for one rep. That's how much my body had atrophied. I wasn't in tune with, how your body works with nutrition and, basic macros. I was basically starving myself and I didn't realize it, you know. Oh, and that was terrible. But it definitely gave when I was able to bench that 125 and at 135 and that was a big deal for me. Your basic 5x5 saved my life at that time. It made me definitely very happy about, that it kind of gave me that belief, like, you know what, I can't control everything around me, but this is something I can control.
Oof,
yeah.
I love that.
And, I think, and that's when it goes down to the absolute basics, if you take a person, a human, you take them down to their raw state, one thing you can control is, well, maybe two things. You can control your mood and how you respond to things. Emotionally, you can decide to be happy. It's just how you look at things. You could decide to be extremely sad and angry. But one other thing you can do, you can control your physical fitness. You see guys, and maybe this is a poor example, but you see guys in prison, you see guys in solitary confinement. What do? You don't have anything else to do. I'm gonna do tons of push-ups. There's no way to take my weights away. All right, I'll find a way to manipulate something and I'll create resistance. And I'm gonna create hypertrophy in my biceps, and my legs. I'm gonna find a way. It's just that's the one thing you can control. They take everything away from you. You can control your mental and you can control your physical. Whatever it is that I'm chasing, I don't want to say I'm chasing something, but the ability to improve, I will never stop. The day I stop is the day that I'm no longer breathing. I will always do that. I'm not the type of person that says, well, I need to be the best. I need to be better than everybody. I don't think like that. At one time I did. That doesn't help. I want to be the best I can be. I think that's as cliche as you can make it, but it's true. You should
it's
say to
powerful,
yourself,
though. It's real.
Sure. Because it's one thing to say I'm the best and never improve, or you could say, well, maybe I'm up there. I'm top 20 maybe, but I'm still improving, and that's what's fun. I would hate to be able to not improve, because then it's like, what can I do now? Now, the world is boring to me. And I like hitting PRs, I like succeeding. I like nailing and accomplishing those goals that I had set out. I don't care how small they are. It's a big deal every time you improve.
So I'm going to unpack a little bit of that for our audience, because you got into a lot. So you were saying that fitness is something that we all have the opportunity to control and utilize as a mechanism that we can to install it to kind of move our lives forward through any challenge, obstacle that comes in our way. I love that, because I've seen that in you. I mean, you told us this story about, basketball, and then about your weight training. And now I see you doing handstand pull-ups, you're doing muscle ups, dips, you got a gym in your basement, you're crushing it. And it's obvious that you've used the tools, the gym, to get you through some tough times. You mentioned that when you were at Penn State, school was a little bit challenging those first couple of years, finishing up. And then you went on a different trajectory, went into a profession. And now you made a decision a few years ago to fight, to become a physical therapist. And can you share with the audience, because I want them to understand that and you mentioned goal setting, and you set a big goal before you had even gotten accepted to a school. And I don't want to tell your story, but I'd love for you to share, that journey of what some of the highs, the lows, the emotions that you had from the main decision that you wanted to become a physical therapist, and then tell us where you are right now and how close are you?
So when I think back to just a couple of years ago, 2017, and I had just passed my little certification test. I took a NASM test, and that was a big deal. I said, "Wow, I can't believe it! I'm a certified personal trainer." And it's not like I learned stuff that I didn't know before. It was just like, now I have a paper that says that I may know a couple of things about training, but that was a big deal. I had going through a rough patch with my girlfriend at the time, my ex-girlfriend. I had just left one of my jobs for another job, and things weren't going right. It just, the money wasn't good, all these terrible things, though everything's coming at me, all the stress. This is right around the time that I met you. I remember thinking, oh, well, my ex-girlfriend at the time was going to law school, and I figured, oh, I'll give it a shot. You remember that?
Yep,
and
absolutely.
I said, all right, I said to myself, it doesn't feel right, but I have to do something. I can't not do anything. I have to work on something. So talk about definition of suffering. I would go to the library. I'll study there for hours for the LSAT, I believe is the name of the entrance exam. And that was it, and you remember seeing me just opening those books and going through it in between clients. And and I remember, I think at one point it was about a month before the exam. I believe the exam was February. And I remember thinking, like, January 1st, New Year's, like, what the hell am I doing? This isn't right for me. I ended up taking the test, you remember, because I put in all that time studying. At least I could say I took the test. But in the back of my mind, I had that physical therapist idea in my mind, but I never took the opportunity to sort of entertain that idea. I remember there was a night where, I kind of looked up some information and said, oh, I have to go back to school. I need to take this prerequisite. I need to take math. I'm terrible at math. So that was I'm creating a barrier for myself right there. Oh, I have to take physics. Oh, I never took a science course like that before,
Right.
And I said to myself, I remember working with a couple of people, and I said to myself, I know that they'll believe me more if I had like a white lab coat on or something. It just seems like that. No one ever believes, no one ever wants to, and I hate that, I just feel like, it should be enough. But there are also times where I kind of wanted to not just educate somebody, but I wanted to fix them right there if I only had the knowledge to do it. And then one thing I always used to tell people when they're like, really, you're going to go back to school for that? Oh, but you have to take these prereqs. You have to spend money. One thing I used to say was, look, I am so inspired by this that I would do it. If it cost $1 million and I had to spend my entire life paying it back, I would do it because it's the knowledge that I'm going for. I enjoy that.
Pause right there, because I love what you just said there. Now you went on this journey and you were with your ex-girlfriend. She was going to law school. And I want to unpack this, because this is what I know. There's a parent, there's someone out there that's going to watch this, and they're going to be sitting in that bedroom. They're sitting in your seat. They're deliberating on, what should I do? Should I go right? Should I go left? And you had already committed to taking this LSAT test. And you recognize at that point that really wasn't where you wanted to go. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
And then the seed was set that you wanted to do something different, and you started to research and PT, and you wanted to fix. So it comes back to helping, which you've always been great at doing. All of our clients always spoke highly of you, and we knew what a great asset you were to the team. Does your child lack confidence, social skills, or motivation? Rahz Slaughter is a sought-after teen life coach, motivational speaker, and 20-year professional coach. He welcomes the opportunity to coach your team on a one-on-one basis or as one of his students in his online groups. Rahz's coaching system will help your teen boost their confidence, improve their communication skills, and gain clarity about who they are and how they can reach their full potential in school, sport, and life. To learn more about the coaching programs or to schedule a consultation, call 1-800-509-9383 or visit us at our website at rahzslaughter.com. If you mention the Boom Show, you'll receive 10% off the coaching program that you enroll your child. So now you look at, and you're doing all this research, and you're like, wow, this mountain is standing up. I got to take these prereqs. I got to go back to school, all this extra debt. And that's all head trash, because someone's going to be watching this and going through the same thing. Maybe there's a parent who wants to go back to school and go become a nurse. She wants to go back to law school or a doctor, but she doesn't want to overcome that. What inspired you to overcome those challenges and say, forget it, I'm still going to move forward? I want this that bad.
I remember talking to one client, and can I mention her name, just her first name? I don't know if you remember Ellen. And
absolutely.
I remember I always had conversations with people. I don't have one of the reasons why, and just a quick segue, one of the reasons why, and I've mentioned this to you before, that every client meant such a great deal to me was because they were almost like my family. Like you guys are my family. I don't really have. I never really. I have my mother and my father. There's certain things I cannot share with them. God bless them, regardless of my mother and my father. But I didn't have anybody else. So their opinions I valued very much. And I remember talking to Ellen, and she just said something to me. She said, okay, you're this age right now, you're 28, whatever age I was, would you rather be, 36 or, 46, 56 and say, yeah, I took all that time to go back to school? Or would you say that, no, I bypassed that and I'm 47 now and I never did anything? And that's definitely what clicked for me. That was the nail in the coffin for me. And that's when I kind of knew, like, all right, I'm going to do this now. Did I require that? No, I probably would have done it. But that definitely, if I had to think back and say what kind of was in like this is like the straw that broke the camel's back, that was it for me for sure. That kind of just like screwed it in my mind. Like, you know what? She's right. In order for me to be happy, I have to go through this, and I have to fail. Then I fail. I'm totally serious when I say if I have to die doing it, then I'll die.
Now, let me ask you this. So we could see that commitment. We could see that passion. It must have been easy. I mean, now you're almost in your third year, fourth year, almost. Was it an easy path to get to where you are today?
Definitely not. And having a great employer and yourself. I remember I had a conversation with you. I wanted your blessing for sure, because just the respect that I have for you, at that time. Well, I still have respect for you, obviously, but I definitely remember the conversation I had with you, and that definitely helped me out a lot. And you guys sort of helping me with my scheduling. And I didn't want to leave Meadowburn ever. I love Meadowburn to this day. I love Meadowburn. I used to say, I want to be here forever. I love it here. I even miss the scent of, LV and OB. I remember them specifically. People say, oh, but it was, but I liked it because I had good times there. I had great experiences there. So that was very helpful for me. So, I thank you so much for that. That made it easier for me, but I remember that year that I took physics, and people were telling me, there's math involved in physics. And I was like, oh, that's all right. I took physics in high school. How different can it be? And you already know I was taking that accelerated course. I think I spent about 3 or 4 hours in class, 4 or 5 days a week. And then I went to community college for these, so that was the most I could spend, but still great education. I've gone to several universities, and to me it's all the same. That's a different conversation. But that I had no idea how to do algebra. I had to go home and spend about 12, and I kid you not, about 12 hours reteaching myself algebra with little bit thank God for the internet. The various books I had lying around, reteach myself algebra just so I could do physics. It was so frustrating. I think I wanted to cry most nights because I felt, oh my God, I made such a big deal about going back to school and I can't even get past the first class. It was probably the worst month of my life. And well, I don't know if it's the worst month of my life, but if I it was definitely a standout month.
It stood out because I remember that as almost as your friend, seeing you go through that. And that's why I wanted you to share that, because almost relive it, because we were talking about time before we even went live, and how we think what we could do in a year is not that much, but what you were able to do in a short period of time and still keep focused. I mean, that was a tough class for you. You got through it, you passed, and you had other tough classes that you had to go through. And, and I think that why I wanted you to share that story, because I believe there's someone who has their back against the wall. They're struggling. They're not good at something. They have to go and do a little bit more. For me, it was always reading. I mean, I love reading. I'm a voracious reader now, but I'm still very slow at reading. So when I'm reading with someone else and we can read the same book, I have to work twice as hard as they do. but understanding that that extra work I put in allows me to get a little bit extra out of it. And I see that in you. I mean, the man and the person and the professional that you become is amazing. And I think that it's an inspiring story of not giving up. So how close are you right now to becoming a physical therapist?
Well, if I had to put it on a timeline, I have to get through. I don't know if I have to get through, but that's saying like I have like something pushing against me. No, I have this semester right now. So right to the end of the year, I have 3 semesters or trimesters worth of clinical, so 3 different clinical locations. Couple of classes on top of that, and then I'm there, and then I have to take I think it's the NPTE. It's like the national licensure exam. I have to take it for New York. Mm-hmm. And once I do that, then, I'm licensed to practice, physical therapy. But wow. It's such a big deal. Rahz, I could tell you that I don't like to always say like I'm happy. I'm definitely happy. I'm always happy, but I'm never content. And there's a difference. But I'm feeling more content, and I'm there's a term that I'm looking for, a phrase that I'm looking for, but I'm gonna butcher this however way I'm gonna say it. But I'm allowing myself time to sort of enjoy this more than thinking. Then I don't know if you remember, but one thing I would always say is, all right, I'm in the trenches. When things mm-hmm. got tough for me, I would say I'm in the trenches. I'm on the ground. I'm locked in. This is where I have to spend time. I think World War I.
I remember that.
Spending Absolutely. Months or years. So that's always a little phrase I would say to myself and others. And I don't feel that way anymore. Last semester was definitely tough, but I had a couple of. They put us in like academic groups. So we have I would say this cohort is about 83 of us. I think at this point, everybody's been stellar in terms of being helpful to each other. I've never been around that many people that were so remarkable. I'm very happy to be around these people. Some of them young, some of them even older than I am. Which is I think is commendable. There's you said it in the beginning. There's somebody I think as in their 50s, if not 60s. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna put her name out there. Oh, I just said, well, I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but I think that's incredible. To think to sort of decide I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself through this accelerated program, and that's another thing. It's accelerated. It's like I definitely, and thanks to you, one thing I remember you used to tell me was you have to be able to set aside time. Whether it be for your significant other or yourself, and you need time to rest. You need time to do so and so. You can't be as much as I think you, me, and anyone else who's very goal oriented. You want to be able to say, oh, I'm going to dedicate the next 12 hours specifically to work. I'm not going to do anything else. If you do that, you're going to burn yourself out. You're not going to be productive. You need gaps. You need time to rest. And I would say that goes for even a kid or whatever, a teenager, studying for, let's say, the SAT, you want to cram. No, just take time out. You need time to be a human, to be a person. I'm not saying get into trouble, but I'm saying you need time to sort of relax and take your mind off of things. And then if you're working hard, things will work out for the best. I'm not saying, well, you do all the right things and you're going to become, LeBron James, and you're going to be the greatest basketball player ever if you just take, no, I'm not saying that, but you'll be successful in what you want to be. You'll have gotten somewhere. So, even if an inch or a mile, it's the same. You got somewhere,
Absolutely.
You the fact that you did something to create a change, a difference, it doesn't matter how small it is, you did it. And a lot of times I think younger people do this to each other. They laugh at the ones that are passionate about things. Oh, what do they do? Why are they studying so much? Why are they training so hard? What does it really matter? It does matter. And it's the people, kids, teenagers included, that don't have that passion, that are always the first to point fingers and make comments. And you have to be able to sort of put that aside and worry about yourself, because if they're where they want to be and they're happy, that's fine. But you're not. And you need to worry about yourself. And you need to keep doing what you're doing to get to where you want to be. It's as simple as that. You can't worry about those other people. Sometimes even friends will, speak like that upon you.
Yep.
Doesn't mean they're bad. I don't know. You have to judge that for yourself. But you cannot listen to those voices, because if they're not helping you, they're hurting you in some sense. Be around positive people. Don't listen to the naysayers. Do what you want to do and put in that time. Because again, if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, put in that work. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about if everybody, your social standing or your love life or whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Get good grades, do well in school, do your best. If you do your best, not everybody's an A student. Not everyone has a 99.9 average. Not everybody can do that. It's just different. It doesn't work out that way. But if you put in the time, you take time for yourself, you work on your external goals, at a sport or something, whatever, and some type of extracurricular. It doesn't matter what it is. You could be young and starting out your own, podcast or something, whatever it is. But choose something and try to become successful at it somehow. You don't have to be the best. That's one thing. Like, it's I need to be the best. But you want to be able to say, I'm better than I was back so and so.
Beautiful.
That's the key.
I love that. Those are nuggets, man. If you guys are paying attention, if you're a parent, a mom, a dad watching this, highly recommend you guys go back, rewind that, and just listen to that. Because if you can unpack that, a lot of times we're focused on labeling. You're an A student. You got a 3.5 GPA. You got a 1,300 on your SATs. But let's see. I love what you said there. If you do your best, and it's something that I share with all of my clients when I'm as a teen life coach, I make sure to say, I want your effort, not your result. Because if you put enough of the work in, like you said, the effort, the result will come. And the result that you get will give you the lessons that will allow you to learn and grow. And that is so powerful, man. I want to end this on this question, because this has been an amazing interview. Evan, I could talk to you forever, as we've done many, many nights and times at the gym. But you spoke about goals. And I believe that goals are critical to success. Without goals, you are going nowhere fast. Goals, like I wrote in my book, is the GPS for success. So I want you to look into this camera and tell us, what is the next big goal once you become a physical therapist? So then I'll have it recorded. So I'm going to hold you accountable. The camera's yours.
Oh boy. Putting me on the spot here. I'm going to say it into the camera. If I had to set a goal for myself, it would just be something. It would be, I want to be employed, and I want to be able to say, I have secured employment. That I feel good and comfortable there. I'm surrounded by decent staff of people. And I see opportunities to grow. That to me is secured employment for sure. So awesome. A simple goal like that, for sure.
And that's an amazing goal. I'm sure that that's going to happen because of the individual that you have become, the man that I've seen you grow into. And I know the professional that you will become is going to be outstanding. And I love the word world class. So I do believe that. Thank you so much for your time. If someone wanted to connect with you, say they have a son or daughter, someone's interested in PT and they're watching this, where would be the best way for them to just reach out and say, hey, Evan, you know what? You inspired me. I love what you said there. My son maybe wants to go to Penn State or something. Where is the best place to reach you?
Sure. Well, they can reach out to me via email even.
That would be perfect.
Yep. Should I say it or? Okay. That's E as in Evan, Y. m5023@gmail.com. I look at my email about 150 times a day, so I will definitely respond. I don't care how, that's the type of person I am. I always have my phone on me.
And we'll make sure to put that up so that they can see that. Because I really think that we never know who we get the opportunity to inspire. You said Ellen she was that catalyst that gave you the dream or gave you a little bit of fuel to go after it. And the reason I couldn't wait to get you on this is because I've got a little bit to watch it. And I'm excited for you because I know that I love when a dream comes to fruition. But here's the key. It was already done. You had to get the paperwork out of the way. I believed in you from the day we sat down in Locust Valley. You shared with me from all of those times that I saw you in the little room studying, standing up in that corner where I was looking at the camera, and I knew that you were doing your damn thing. So I'm extremely proud of you, brother. It's been an honor to interview you. Thank you so much for your candid explanation of your journey, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Oh, thanks a lot. Well, it was an honor to be chosen by you to be interviewed. So thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody, my name is Rahz. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and thank you for, like I always tell people, best employer, best boss that I ever had, definitely most influential.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. My name is Rahz Slaughter, AKA The Motivator. This has been The Boom Show, building open-minded, optimistic, and motivated teens. Please do me a huge favor. If you got some value from this, click that subscribe link, leave a comment, anything, let us know that this has been powerful for you. And if you have any questions or challenges that you need help with, reach out. My name is Rahz, and I'm out. As always, boom! Stay active, stay motivated.